Hello, my name is Gabriela Bobadilla Barron from Simvestab. Today I would like to present our work entitled Influence of Precursor Meeting Time of the Photocatalytic Activity of ZNOF Thin Films for Malachite Green Degradation. One of the major environmental challenges associated with industrial wastewater is the presence of organic pollutants, including synthetic dyes. In this work, we select malachite green as a model organic pollutant because of its persistence in aqueous environments. The development of effective methods for its degradation has received increasing attention. As we can see in the figure, the number of the publications related to the photocatalytic degradation of malachite green has increased considerably in recent years. Among the different approaches for removing organic pollutants, semiconductor photocatalytic is particularly attractive. ZNO is a promising photocatalytic semiconductor, and in our case, we use fluoride-doped ZNO or ZNOF thin films. The main idea of this work was to investigate whether mechanical milling of the zinc precursor before deposition can be used to modify the properties of the resulting films and consequently influence their photocatalytic behavior. For this purpose, ZNOF thin films were deposited on soda lime glass subtracted by ultrasonic spray pyrolysis, or USP. We use zinc acetate dihydrate as the zinc precursors. Before preparing the solution of the zinc acetate was mechanical milling at 300 RAP from the different times 30, 45, and 60 minutes. The corresponding examples were identified in the table 1. After deposition, we investigate their structural and morphological properties and evaluated their photocatalytic activity using malachite green. First, regarding the structural properties, X-ray diffraction confirmed that all the samples exhibit the characteristic hexagonal bursite structures of SO. This is important because it shows that charging the precursor milling time modifies the material without changing the fundamental crystal phase of this. However, when we look at the same images, we can observe changes in the surface morphology as the precursor milling time changes. This result is particularly important for photocatalytic because the morphology of the films determined the available surface where interaction between the photocatalytic and pollutant molecules can occur. Therefore, even when the crystallized phase remains the same, changes in precursor processing can influence the final surface characteristic of the films. Finally, we evaluate the photocatalytic activity of the three samples of the three films by monitoring the UV absorption spectra of malachite green during irradiation. This figure shows the evolution of the characteristic absorption band of malachite green. As irradiation time increases, we observe the progressive decrease in the intensity of the absorption band. This decrease indicates a reduction in the concentration of malachite green in the solution and therefore confirms the photocatalytic activity on these films. More importantly, the behavior changes depending on the precursor milling time. This indicates that precursor milling is not simply a mechanical preparation step. It can modify the structural and surface characteristics of the resulting films and consequently influence their photocatalytic performance. In conclusion, we demonstrate that precursor milling is a simple strategy for tailoring the properties of these films deposited by ultrasonic spray pyrolysis. All samples maintaining the characteristic hexagonal bursity structure of ZNO, while change in milling time produce noticeable difference in surface morphology and photocatalytic behavior. The progressive decreases in the characteristic absorption band of malachite green confirm the photocatalytic activity of these films. Therefore, controlling the precursor milling conditions before deposition represents a promising approach for tailoring films for the degradation of organic pollutants in water. And that's all. Thank you very much for your attention.